Jimmy Kimmel used his appearance on the Live with Kelly and Mark show to criticize Mark Consuelos for his bad decision. In Kelly Ripa and Mark's own court, it was unquestionably a backhanded roast for a guest. Kelly, however, was glad to work with them. Kelly Ripa and Jimmy Kimmel joined forces against Mark Consuelos' Jimmy Kimmel. A guest on a recent episode of Live with Kelly and Mark supports Kelly Ripa. Having been married for 28 years, Mark Consuelos and Kelly are unquestionably familiar with one another. Nevertheless, Mark manages to annoy Kelly despite their experience. Although Kelly frequently criticizes Mark for this or that, it is uncommon for the guest and Kelly to attack him at the same time. Jimmy, however, was more than willing to make accommodations by bringing up a delicate subject: Mother's Day. Mark Consuelos is ridiculed by Jimmy Kimmel for his Mother's Day flub. While many people do a great job of showing their mothers, husbands, and other powerful women love and appreciation on Mother's Day, Jimmy Kimmel notes that Mark Consuelos fell short. Jimmy demonstrates to the audience what not to do by drawing attention to Mark's Mother's Day gaffe while discussing the recent holiday. Mark shares a picture of Kelly Ripa and his mother cuddling on his Instagram page. He then adds the caption, 2 for 1. To these two treasures, Happy Mother's Day. I adore you. Jimmy eagerly displays the post before mocking him for his bad decisions. Jimmy Kimmel corrects his own error by using Mark interestingly. Jimmy Kimmel's motivation for highlighting Mark Consuelos' failure was that he was also reprimanded by his wife for a bad post and desperately looked for someone who had done it worse. Molly McNerney, Jimmy's wife, was disappointed by the pictures he used for his Mother's Day post. Molly was shocked when he uploaded a picture of her in bed, even though he had chosen a picture that showed his wife, kids, and dog. Rather, she believed he ought to have added a picture of her at her best attractive. She also chastised him for calling her the lady in the glasses, as though they wouldn't recognize her. He was rushing to show that his post wasn't all that horrible when he saw Mark's and immediately changed the criticism to highlight how much worse it may have been. When Jimmy Kimmel brought it up on Live with Kelly and Mark, Kelly Ripa was more than happy to join in and support Mark. Kelly was prepared to express her opinions about the lack of effort at the mere mention of the Mother's Day post. She remarked, "This picture really annoyed me. Since I'm not Mark's mother, I understand." Then, by adding to her emotions of inadequacy, she lets him have it. He finds a photo of 150 years ago, she says. We are both in Arizona at a Western amusement park. The temperature is 400 degrees. We're perspiring. We are so dehydrated that we are clutching to one another. Jimmy Kimmel joins the fray in the Instagram comments section. He was clearly making fun of Mark for being lazy and not honoring his mother and wife with different notes. Jimmy says, "Thank you, Mark. It worked out well for me," nodding to his stumbling advantage. However, it was all a fantastic time between excellent friends during the roast. Furthermore, Mark was unfazed by Jimmy's remarks. He was unfazed by the prank. How do you feel about Jimmy Kimmel's Mother's Day piece in which he mocks Mark Consuelos? Do you believe Mark made a mistake? Did their wives make Jimmy and Mark's posts seem as awful as they actually were? Did Jimmy's appearance on Live with Kelly and Mark appeal to you? It takes a special kind of charm to survive Jimmy Kimmel's late-night ribbing. Plenty of A-list actors, chart-topping musicians, and professional athletes have walked onto the Jimmy Kimmel Live stage only to be met with the comedian's signature blend of warmth and sharp-edged humor. But when Mark Consuelos recently appeared as a guest, he discovered that even a seasoned TV host and soap opera veteran isn't immune to Kimmel's gleeful teasing, especially when there's a flub involved. The evening began innocently enough. Kimmel, standing before his cheering studio audience, introduced Mark with a smile that hinted he was already sitting on a comedic gem. "You know him as the co-host of Live with Kelly and Mark," Kimmel said, pausing for effect. "He's also a husband, a father, and the only man who can survive Kelly Ripa's daily roasts without crying into his morning coffee. Please welcome Mark Consuelos." Mark walked out in his usual polished style, tailored suit, confident stride, and that mischievous grin he saves for moments when he knows the spotlight might turn on him in an unexpected way. He shook Kimmel's hand, sat down, and barely got comfortable before the host leaned in. "So, Mark," Kimmel began, "I heard you've had, let's call it, a moment on your own show this week. Would you like to explain, or should I?" The audience erupted in laughter before Mark even opened his mouth. Clearly, the viewers were already in on the joke. Mark chuckled nervously. "Oh, come on, Jimmy. Are we really starting with that?" Kimmel feigned innocence. "I don't know, Mark. When a man reads the teleprompter and somehow calls pumpkin spice latte pumpkin spicy llama, I think America deserves an explanation." The crowd howled. Mark buried his face in his hands. "I knew you were going to bring that up. It was a slip. A one-time thing." "Pumpkin spicy llama is not a slip, my friend," Kimmel shot back. "That sounds like something Starbucks should release immediately. Grande spicy llama. Extra whip." Even Mark had to laugh at that one. "Kelly hasn't let me live it down," he admitted. "She keeps ordering me to pick up her spicy llama from the corner coffee shop." Kimmel leaned back in his chair, clearly savoring the story. "See, this is why I love daytime TV. You guys get up early, you're barely caffeinated, and suddenly llamas are in the mix. But let's be honest. Was it nerves? Lack of sleep? Or were you just dreaming of livestock when you read that line?" Mark tried to defend himself. "It was the prompter. The words kind of merged together, and before I knew it, boom, llama." But Jimmy wasn't letting him off that easily. "That's your story? Blame the machine. Mark, even autocorrect, is offended right now." The segment rolled into high gear as Kimmel pulled out a massive foam coffee cup with the words pumpkin spicy llama scrawled across it in black marker. "Our graphics department worked really hard on this," Jimmy joked, holding it up like it was a trophy. "We thought about actually bringing in a llama, but apparently there are rules about that. Something about safety, or carpets." The audience erupted again, and Mark shook his head in mock despair. "This is going to follow me forever, isn't it?" "Oh, absolutely," Kimmel said. "In fact, I think it might become your new nickname. Forget Mark Consuelos. From now on, it's Mark the Spicy Llama." The teasing continued, but in classic Kimmel fashion, it was delivered with warmth rather than cruelty. He pivoted into a montage of past celebrity flubs, from A-listers tripping on red carpets to news anchors stumbling over tongue twisters. Finally, the infamous clip of Mark's gaffe played on the screen, complete with slow-motion replay and exaggerated sound effects. Mark threw his hands up in defeat. "I should have known better than to come on your show right after that happened." But Kimmel had more up his sleeve. "Actually, we have someone on the line who wants to weigh in." With that, the big screen behind the set lit up with none other than Kelly Ripa, calling in via video. "Jimmy," Kelly said with a smirk, "thank you for finally giving America what they deserve. Accountability for my husband's nonsense. I've had to hear about this llama all week." Mark groaned. "You set me up," Kelly shrugged. "Mark, sweetie, if you can't handle me, what makes you think you can handle Jimmy Kimmel?" The audience roared, and Jimmy doubled over laughing. "You see, Mark, even your own wife has turned state's witness against you." For the next few minutes, Jimmy and Kelly tag-teamed, ribbing Mark about his misstep. Kelly joked about ordering him to practice tongue twisters at home, while Jimmy suggested he start carrying flashcards with basic coffee terms just in case. Finally, Mark regained control of the conversation. Okay, enough. I'll own it. America, I hereby apologize for confusing your seasonal beverages with exotic mammals. I promise it won't happen again. Unless, of course, Starbucks really does launch the pumpkin spicy llama." Kimmel clapped his hands. "Now that's the spirit. See, you've got to turn your mistakes into marketing opportunities. Call Starbucks, get a cut of the profits, and next year you'll be swimming in llama foam." The interview ended on a high note, with Kimmel presenting Mark with a novelty coffee mug emblazoned with a cartoon llama holding a latte. Mark raised it to the audience with mock solemnity, declaring, "To the llamas of America, I salute you. By the time the credits rolled, the flub had transformed from an embarrassing slip into a hilarious shared memory, one that fans of both Live with Kelly and Mark and Jimmy Kimmel Live wouldn't soon forget. And perhaps that's the beauty of late-night roasting. Underneath the laughter, the jokes, and the oversized props, there's a reminder that no one, no matter how polished or professional, is immune to a little human error. For Mark Consuelos, the pumpkin spicy llama incident may go down as one of his most famous TV moments. And for Jimmy Kimmel, it was just another perfect chance to prove that comedy, at its best, turns mistakes into magic.